Hey guys, so today we're going to be making a summer top. It's Reformation style, inspired, I don't know, but it's this dress over here. I just love it. I'm going to be making it in this material, partly because I think it's lovely. You can never go wrong with red, and it's one of the only materials I have currently. But yeah, anyway, let's begin. So first things first, we're going to begin creating the pattern pieces with an existing top that fits you well. As you can see, I'm tracing and cutting out the back piece first. And as you can see, I'm using my little pottery dishes as weights. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the front piece. As you can see, when it comes to this pattern piece, I make provision for the deep V in the front. I just eyeball this line, but I'm sure there are more. Maybe you can just draw it up on yourself, but this worked out best for me. Okay, so now for the interfacing. I'm using scrap pieces of paper and marking it up roughly 2 inches to make this interfacing. I'll continue doing this for the back piece of the neck, as you can see here, and I'll then move on to the deep V in the front. Now for the sleeves. To get that puffy effect, I did a similar tutorial with my previous video. I'll link it in the description box down below. But as you can see, I'm using a basic sleeve pattern that I know fits me, and I've sliced it into 4 pieces. Then to make the new sleeve pattern, I then sellotape this on, spacing them roughly 2 inches away from each other, as I want both the top of the sleeve as well as the bottom to be puffed out. And that's the sleeve pattern. I'll then cut this out of the red fabric. Measure out the width of your arm for the bottom strips of the sleeve. Okay, so this is the tricky part for me, the skirt. I use the back pattern as an indication of the size of my waist. I then flare it out over the length of the skirt. Now all the patterns are cut up, let's piece them together. Can you see? I'm gonna attach this to this side and that to that side. So, back. Let's see if the moment of truth, does it fit? Okay, so you can see that it does fit. I want the deep V, so yeah, it's fitting nicely. I'm trying to decide what we should do next, and I think, okay, for now I'm going to leave this bodice piece and I am going to start working on the skirt. here's the screw. Look at that shimmy. But we're going to take the two pieces of the skirt and then sew them side by side the same way we did the bodice. And let's see if they're at a good length. It's quite short right now, so fingers crossed that it actually pans out. I'm just going to try this on for a second. Now for these long bands for around the waist. I didn't have a long enough piece, so I cut out 2 strips and then I'm going to fold it to make it one. So let's combine the two with a straight stitch. So simple. Now I have one long piece as my belt. Yeah, so I'm going to completely fold it in half, straight stitch along the edges as close to the edge as humanly possible, and then I'm going to turn the whole thing inside out. After lots and lots of sewing, we're going to straight stitch the top and then turn it inside out. I am going to be very lazy and I'm going to turn this inside out with a pen, well, a Koki. Most people do this with, what do you call it? A safety pin, or they actually have like the loop. Is it called a loop turner? I think it's, I don't know, something along those lines. Very, whoop. I made it to the other side. Okay, the pen is still in here, so we'll take this out. Yes, we'll take it out as soon as we are done. Okay, and now we have our band, which we just need to iron so that it's, yeah, so that it's a bit more flatter than what it currently is. Oh, and removing the pen. And there it is. Next, we're going to work on our, last but not least, our big puffy sleeves. Okay, so how I'm going to do this is I'm going to, I think the term's basting. So I'm going to set my straight stitch on the largest setting there is, which is the widest. Did I say largest? I meant widest. Set it on the widest. Then I'm going to straight stitch 1 centimeter away from the edge of the, you know? Ta-da! Okay, and then with this, I'm going to pull on either end. So, like this. Or most of the time, you're supposed to actually do 2, so that if one breaks, you can just continue with the other. But I'm just gonna, life's too short, right? In the middle of a Just fingers crossed it doesn't break. I feel like with my luck it might. When I get this ruffle halfway through, I'm going to start doing it from the other side. I don't know, I feel like I'm putting too much pressure on the one side of this thread. We're officially halfway. Look at this beautiful little ruffle. Now I'm going to do this for the other side. Ah, look at this beautiful ruffle. It's gonna go. Okay, now for the bottom, because we want the same effect on the bottom too. Now we have attach the two sides of the sleeve together and straight stitch along the edge. So this is just like a little progress video. Oh, snap, it's fallen. Look at the sleeve. Don't mind the extra string. Now we're going to attach the sleeves to the bodice piece by pinning along the holes for each respective sleeve. Let's attach the interfacing to the bodice piece as well. Once all the pinning's complete, we're going to straight stitch all the attachments to the bodice and follow with a zigzag stitch to make sure that all the edges don't fray. I then double fold the edge of the interface so that it has a clean finish, and then straight stitch along that edge as close to the edge as possible. If you don't have the right foot, this does take a while, but just be patient. Officially done. As you can see, it makes for a very clean finish. Now for the band at the bottom of the sleeves. I ironed them in half and fold it, put the two sides together and straight stitch along the edge. Be sure to repeat this process with the other band. I then pin this to the bottom edge of the sleeve, making sure to distribute it evenly, and then straight stitch along the edges. And as always, followed with a zigzag stitch. Repeat this process for the second sleeve. I'm just attaching each of the pieces of the skirt to one another. I'm straight stitching it and then going to follow with a zigzag stitch. This pattern is different to what I'd proposed earlier. I realized it didn't work, so I'll attach an image of what the pattern pieces should look like. Once that is complete, I'm going to attach the skirt to the bodice by pinning them together. Then I'm going to straight stitch these two pieces together and zigzag stitch to finish the two edges. I'm intentionally leaving a hole here so that there can be a gap for the string to come through later on. This is definitely not the neatest hole, and I'm sure that there's better methods that you guys should do, but I then flip it so that it's roughly 1 centimeter and straight stitch along that edge. Okay, so with this step I should have done this earlier. We're going to complete the understitching, which is attaching the facing to the seam allowance and sewing that in with a straight stitch. This is done to make sure that the facing is held in place so that it doesn't lift back up. I'm now going to double fold all the raw edges to make it neat and straight stitch along the edges. Again, this is going to take a while, so for those of you who don't have that foot, including myself, just be patient. Before, I'd only mentioned one string, so this is me just making the other with a loop turner. Here's both of them after they've been ironed, and now I'm going to attach them to the dress on the edges. And once I've stitched them together, we are done. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope to see you in my next video. Bye!